Yeah, y'all. Okay. I think that this is it. Oh, look. I think that that's going to get darker as the sun goes down. That's the intention anyway.
I hear my phone going off.
Oh,
So
did
it
you?
must be working.
Yeah, it is. It's on. We're on. Hey, hey, everybody. We'll give everyone a moment to tune in. And oh, here we go. And as you hop on, if you want to just send us a little message like, hey, I'm here, just so I can make sure one, that you can hear us, two, that you can see us, and three, that the chat box is actually working appropriately. That would be amazing. So, good evening. Happy hump day. I'm Jane.
I'm Michael.
And this is
Love Talks.
Love Talks. Hey, Charles is here. Awesome. Cool. Thanks for saying that you're here. Sean is here. Hello. How are you? Y'all, I am so excited that Michael and I get to do this and super excited that you all are here joining. So, I have found that with COVIDicus season here, probably more permanent than not, many of us are Love Talks on Hump Day, right? Tina's here. Hi. Like, I feel like, I don't know, tell me what you think. So I feel like we are getting more and more opportunities to actually have real conversations with each other around really big things, life, death, pandemic, politics, health, wellness, love, relationships, all of these things. I feel like we're actually talking more about these things now than we ever have, like in this real for reals way. What do you think?
I agree with that. Like, for sure. I think that the fact that our norm has been totally taken out from underneath us kind of forces us into these situations where we kind of have to have these discussions, these more personal discussions. It's not like there's an issue between me and you or between me and my mom, and it's like, well, I could just go to work,
And
Monday through Friday and ignore it, and then I can go out every weeknight and go drinking at the bar. Now it's different because of COVID.
Yeah.
It's like I can't run away from all my personal problems. I kind of have to face them head on. Yeah, especially, a lot of people are working from home.
Yeah.
Any issues they're having in the household, they're sitting in it while they're working.
Yeah.
And it's like you can sit in it or you can hash it out with the household while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we want to do this. So, a little background. Michael and I met each other a year ago. Actually, November 22nd was our 1 year of, hi, nice to meet you. At which point we were like, oh, super smitten. Oh, right. Michael leaves town for 3 weeks to go visit family for holiday. And he comes back and it's like, you're back for like birthday and Christmas and all these things. No.
Birthday was before.
Yeah, birthday. Yeah. You were here for my birthday and then left for like Christmas and New Year's and all that. Came back. I had a housemate. We were like doing the datey thing, but taking it at this like really beautifully slow pace because I've rushed into relationships. So I was like, no, I'm just going to enjoy this. And so things are going well. And then COVIDicus happened.
Boy, that was a fun time.
Yeah, it sure was. And we'll get into like what that actually looked like. Because we definitely had our struggles so Michael at the time was living in an apartment 15 minutes away. Mm-hmm. Quarantined, right? Everyone's quarantined. So I had my housemate. So I was like, I'm not alone. I've got Paige Elodian. I'm so excited. And Michael would have been at this apartment, like completely alone. And I'm like, well, that's silly, like we're having sleepovers, so why not? So he quarantined here for work. And however long that lasted, because so much came up with relationships, just with humaning together, that it was a lot. So we were like, okay, we need to split. We just need to split this time. We need to get this time apart. And so that was a few days, a couple days, I don't know, whatever it was we needed. And we came back together with a new commitment to be compassionate, be communicative, be open and authentic, and like be committed to the team, not just me being committed to me and him being committed to him, but rather like really being committed to this concept of team. What do you want to share?
I'm enjoying everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruth is in the house, and Sharon is in the house. I'm saying hey to everybody that I'm seeing hop on. And Charles is asking why, like, if we're playing Barry White. I wish we could, but we don't have the rights to that music. But maybe one day we'll be able to play the Barry White in the background. That would be awesome sauce. So we realized that, I mean, I'll speak about myself. Whatever. I realized like that during COVID, like Michael said, like you got to talk this stuff out. Because there's no running away. There's no like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm going to go to the bar and I'll see you later, alligator. It's like, oh no, we can't run away from this. We are literally in it. And we've committed to being not only in it, but we've committed to growing through it. Whatever this new reality that we're all currently growing through, whatever that looks like. So it's been a ride. It's been a roller coaster, a log ride. Y'all remember the log rides? Hey, Aaron, how are you? I'm so happy are you? Y'all remember log? Do you remember log rides?
The log flume?
Yeah.
Like the one where you get wet?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's like that. Where it's like you always wanted to go on the log ride, the log whatever, because it was always hot and it was like this beautiful reprieve. And so you'd go up and you'd go through the tunnels and then you go down and you'd get super wet and you'd be like 10 degrees cooler and you would feel so good. And then you would get out and you'd walk to the next ride and your underpants were really gross and wet and your clothes are wet and your socks are wet and your shoes are wet and everything is really uncomfortable. But you can't just take off your clothes because you're in the middle of this theme park and people stare, so don't do that. So you commit to continuing moving, right? So that your clothes can dry out. And sure, when you get back on that stupid log ride again, just for the fun of it. And I feel like that's kind of been what this relationship has kind of been like. And I mean that in a really good way. Like it's all good. What do you think? What would you liken it to if not the log ride?
I think the log ride is the only ride I've gotten on off of more than like 3 times in a row. Like I've definitely gone on the log ride like 7 times in a row at one point. So it's a pretty spot on analogy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the roller coaster of our experience and how we're continuing on this ride together and how this plays out in our normal daily life with friends and co-workers and cohorts and peers and family. Because everything that I'm learning in relationship, it's not just for the two of us, it's for one, the relationship with myself, but also the relationship I have with everyone else. And I feel like the way I communicate now in this situation is definitely serving me in other areas of my life.
How so? You want to give an example?
Yeah. If I have to. Well, like asking for what I want. I'm becoming more comfortable and confident in making requests for what I want. it used to be really hard for me just to even communicate what I needed. Like if I needed food, like I would still like not ask for it. Like I would suffer. I was in Martyrsville. Um, and so now, because I've gotten more accustomed to asking for what I want, with Michael, I ask for more of what I want in any other situation. And I feel comfortable and confident with it because I am more practiced at it and feel this feeling of I'm worthy of asking, I'm worthy of receiving it. And if I don't ask for it, then how could I get what I want? You know, Tina's asking, do you run from relationships?
I think if anything, it's the opposite with you.
That I run to relationships?
No, it's like any relationship you have, whether you want to attribute it positive, negative, pleasurable, not pleasurable. I feel like you go at any relationship head on with the truth. And if people don't like it, they'll be the one running away. You're the one that stands in your truth. And then the people that want to stand in that truth with you are like the friends that you want. You know what I mean?
And I think, yeah, and I'll get back to that because I want to say something about that. But yeah, with that, like those that can stand in their own truth while I stand in mine,
mm-hmm.
Whether we agree with our truth, whether our truths are the same or not. It's like I'll stay in my truth. And so I don't run from the relationships. I'm like, nope, I'm here. What? But I'm also a Sagittarius. Like, I'm the truth monster. Like, it just comes out. I am. And I am okay with that. You don't run from relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're more like water.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michael will have something happen in one of his like personal relationships that, sucks. And instead of him being like, whatever, peace out, turd burglar, or, oh no, I have to fix it. He's like, okay, it just is. I'm just going to go with the flow. And so he's like super soothing in relationships. And I'm, the fiery truth monster. It's cute, right? It's cute, right?
So cute.
Okay, it's so cute. It's cute. So, yeah, so that's a thing. And these are the things that we want to talk about. Just these real life things. Want to share some intentions that we have for this because we want for this to be interactive and community building because I feel that if I can talk with others from a place of like unconditional love, compassion, grace, creativity, all that fun stuff, then I'm going to build really solid, firmly rooted relationships with all those that I'm in contact with. And for me, that's what's going to grow my future. Like I'm watching elders right now who are not being taken care of by whomever. It's like we put older folks in homes and we forget about them and just push them away. And I'm finding that I feel, and tell me what you think, I feel it's because we've grown into a society where we just put the elders aside and we forget that they're the wisdom keepers and we forget to take care of them and that the tribe comes around them and the tribe holds them and watches them through their transition and loves on them and makes them comfortable and all that stuff. I feel like we've just really stepped aside from that. And I feel like the way we communicate is like the very first step in building that tribe mentality back so that we can truly grow together and grow old together.
I mean, my experience with that has been, this society that we're a part of, this American dream, got to go to work, got to keep making the money, keep making the bread for the family. Mm-hmm. It's like grandma and grandpa are sick. Like I have to put them in a home because I have to keep going to work. I have to keep making the money. I have to keep feeding this system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, like those tribal ways of like just having a community that supports each other, not just we support each other and, screw everybody else. And then they have the same mentality. It's no, the whole community comes together and takes care of each other so that when there is a newborn or there is an elderly person needing help, somebody in the community can always help them.
Yeah.
And aid them in their transition.
Yeah.
Same thing with the littles. their transition into childhood and then into adulthood, usually in the tribal way, you would have a community and they would help raise the child.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've gotten really far away from that.
Yeah. And I think that we can't even talk about it, without, someone feeling guilty for their choices that they're making. So it's like, how can we start these conversations? Well, to me, it starts with conversations, and so I always like to start with the source. I always go to like the seed, the root of the thing. And to me, it's the relationship that I have with myself and the relationship that I have with my partner and those closest to me. So for me, it's the Michael, and it's my nearest and dearest friends that I've been basically quarantined with, and a couple of family members. And that's like, my super close super seed. Beyond that super seed is like the Promise Resource Network family, and all this stuff. So I'm like, well, if I want to create more of this connection and relationship, I really have to go to the root, right? And that's me, and then that's us. So I wanted to share a lot of these things. And I want to share more about our intentions. And I also want to see what you all are saying. Erin says that people have to make a decision if they can attach themselves to another's truth while being committed to their own truth. I want to get one of those chime things, like that's at ALC. Like, I really want to get one. So can we just like put that on the mental list on the whiteboard or something? Okay.
Got it.
Okay, thanks. That will make so much more sense when I get it, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, that's so much more fun. But yeah, Erin, like yeah, like unless I make a decision to stand in my own truth, then I start to just get like, what is my truth? And then I can't honor anyone else's truth if I don't even know mine. Sean says, when I did my 9th step, I learned a lot about my relationships. Relationships are built. They don't just happen, right? They don't. Like they start out with, oh, they just happened. And then it's like, oh, it's like if you buy a house and it has a garden in the back, that's great. You got to tend to that though. Otherwise, it doesn't nourish many people for long. So yeah, spot on with that one. I concur. Tina says, random. She doesn't say random. I said random. Random. Can you see that from here?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah. So like you could read it as well?
Okay.
Really? Would you want to read in Tina's voice?
I don't know what Tina sounds like.
I guess that she sounds like this compared to your voice.
I'll just read it in my voice,
okay.
If that'll be helpful. All right, so Tina says, as far as elders go, I take pleasure in knowing them and talking to them. If they can live life through the changes and challenges, then I can too. Same with other people. I love to hear the stories, to know where you come from and where you're going. What can I glean from you?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Like, I think that, Tina, thank you for sharing that. I feel like that's something that our culture has kind of forgotten how to do, is to be with elders and ask and listen, because they are full of the full life of lived experiences. And if they've lived in the generations before this current embodiment, whoever you are that's listening, they've seen some stuff, right? Like they maybe have lived through the Depression, other wars, the Spanish flu, very similar to COVIDicus, and all of these things, heartbreak, jobs, maybe moving countries, or, losing a whole family, losing stuff, winning things, all that stuff. There's so much information. And it's not until we just like listen that when we listen, we get the goods, I'm really grateful that we can listen to each other, Michael, because that's something that I feel like we do. We listen to each other. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I say, why don't you hear me? I've said this over and over again.
And I said, I've heard you for the 1,000th time. You don't have to repeat it.
Yes. True. Speaking of truth, Sharon says that honesty is so very important in relationships. It really is honesty. And I feel like if I'm not being honest with me, like for real being 100% honest with myself, I can think I'm being honest with Michael, but I'm not. You know, I like that. Oh, Tina, I like this. Tina says, I call your super seed my flock. Yes, I like the flock. That made me just think of the flock of seagulls and then the hair thing. But anyway. And Charles says, out here in the sticks, it's not so much. Families are thick around here. Most people don't move far away from where they grew up. Most like us, still live in the family land. The elders are close or in the household and only placed in living assistance if their physical needs can't be met at home. That's been my experience anyway. I feel that's very common, that in like smaller towns or more rural areas where people are still very connected to the land and the family is nearby, that tribal mentality is still being practiced, because that mentality, that way of being, and that communicate, take care, check in, listen, be the family, that's in our DNA. Like, it's in our DNA to be loving and compassionate to each other.
Awesome.
I know. Like, it's within us, but we've been conditioned outside of that. And to bridge that gap takes, I think, real honest communication. And speaking of communication, Sharon says, communication has always been hard for me. I have to work hard to improve this. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, because again, truth monster, I just say it. My intention is to come from a place of love and authenticity, and I'm very, very direct. Like the arrow that the Sagittarius centaur does, you know? Very direct. And in that, I've had reflections of, wow, Jane, you're a bitch, you're mean, things like that, which shuts down my communication totally. And so then it was really hard for me to be extremely open and vulnerable with Michael and say the things like, hey, I need this, you know, I need this and that, and whatever that is. How's communication been for you? Because you're really good at it when you do it.
Am I?
Yeah, when you do it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's always improving. The end. But no, I feel like through most of my life, it's been pretty easy to communicate and stand in my truth and just be honest with whoever I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I'm not being honest with them, who am I really bullshitting?
Right.
I'm lying to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I want to live a life where I stand in and walk in my truth and not try to run from my truth my entire life. Does that make sense?
Totes.
Yeah. And I mean, there's sometimes when I feel, you know, much like you reflected, you know, it's reflected to me that something I'm saying is making somebody else feel unpleasant or sad or angry. And it's like, all right, well, I'll shut down then and I'll walk the other way. And then I'll normally, you know, take a moment to collect myself or let the other person collect themselves and then try to re-engage, whether it's 5 minutes later, 5 days later, a month later. You know, it depends on the relationship, really.
Yeah. You just said something that made me go like, oh yeah. So if I say something and you take it personally and it hurts your feeling, you will shut down, walk away. That's what you said, right?
Not always.
No, not always, but like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I am the one that's like, if he says something and I take it personally and it hurts my feeling, then I'm going to go one of two ways. You don't even know which one it is. I don't even know until it happens. It's like flipping a coin. My inner self is like, this is what you're doing. And I'll either be like, and shut down, peace out. That's usually the latter of the two responses, because normally my response is like, No, I'm really rooting down and I'm going to repeat it and be even more blunt and honest. You know, I need to be more clear because my feeling got hurt. I need to react and like throw back the darts.
So it looks like Tina says, Michael, what is your sign? So I'm an Aries. I don't know much beyond that. Do you have any insight on that and how I am in relationship?
Oh, I don't remember what your other signs are.
Aries.
Well,
2 of them are Aries.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, that's right.
Aries. The other one's Cancer.
Oh yeah, Aries is a fire sign as well.
Mm-hmm. I believe Cancer is a water sign.
I think.
So 2 fires and a water for me, and I believe Jane is 3 fire signs.
I am. It's cute. Well, if you have this here, you have to be at least 2 fire signs. Sharon, I want to see what you said. Says half of my immediate family is here local and the other family members are far away. We've not been all together for over 10 years. My sister has all of her family close, and I would like so much to have them to have that. Yeah, right, to have that close-knit family, like that is such a good feeling, right? Like just that feeling of being taken care of, taken cared for, caring for them too. You know, it's like my family, none of them live remotely close. They're 600 miles away at least. Your family is
about 600 miles
600
away.
miles away, different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a part of me, and if any family members watching, you know I love you. And I'm really glad that they're not just down the street, because then I would become the caregiver, and I would get so focused because that's just my nature that I would lose my care for the bigger picture. Does that make sense? That being said, it really sucks that they're so far away because I want to be with them more often so that I can be more of a caregiver. So I feel you on that, Sharon, a lot. And thank you, Aaron. We're glad to be back. Aaron says that he's glad that Michael and I are back. Me too. And Charles is saying, I guess my point was that with other types of communities where people have relocated all over the country or world, their community is not so strong. So there's not so strong of a feeling to take care of the original tribe. So true. So true. Yeah. It's amazing. So, you know, it's like we have this social world that we're all living in, and this has become the means of communication. Like I love this platform because it's like fun because we can see what you all are saying and it's interactive, and I love that. I feel like you all are all here with us, which is really great. And you know, it's disconnected, you know. And you know, Aaron's saying like his family's 537 miles away. You know, and during the holidays it feels like 2,000 more miles was added to the trip, right? Like I know. I was just talking to a client today about our holiday coming up, or the holiday. What holiday is that? Oh, it's our holiday. Some people call it Christmas, but it's mine. Not really. It's yours. No. And we were talking like, you know, if we go visit anyone, it's going to be between like these little dates, and okay, so how can we finagle getting there, and how would we stay, who would we stay with? Hotels get expensive, can't really stay there, can't stay here, and it turns into this like whirlwind of dis-ease.
And then when it finally gets into like we figure it out, COVID, this person's fearful. We don't want to see you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't house you. Can't see you. We'll see you sometime next year.
Yeah. And that makes it really difficult. Like having the distance is difficult enough, you know, and then it's like, okay, so I'll wait till the holidays and I guess I'll just like FaceTime with everyone. And then next thing you know, it's like, you know, 4 hours in, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you've missed out on all of that communion, you know, that camaraderie, that friendship, that reconnection to actually feel and see how people are doing. Because how often do you talk to someone and you're like, how are you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm fine. And then you see them and they like have like both arms in casts and stuff, and they have like the neck brace on. You're like, what happened? They're like, oh yeah, this really big life event happened. And you're like, you said you were fine. They're like, oh, I didn't want to bother you. You're like, but if I knew, I would have sent you gifts. I would have called you. I would have driven to see you. But there's no communication. People are forgetting how to communicate in love and truly be open and say, yeah, I'm having a really hard time. I broke all the bones. Life is really sucking for me. How are you? You know, don't you think that's true?
Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. And then, I'll see people doing that and I'm like, I know you're not fine. Can we expand beyond that? Can you give me a little more? And then sometimes I'll do the same exact thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm just like, humans.
Right? Oh, self. Oh, self-human.
Oh, self.
It's a hoot. It's a hoot. Tina says, I live very far from my mom. It's hard for me to live in the same town due to my illness, but I would be there, and I am there for her in heart. Yes. You're there for her in a heartbeat, and she'll be moving in with me if it ever gets to that. Yeah, right. And it also says that we're social tribal people. COVID has totally changed the way we live. It's what drove her to seek out PRN. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, Promise Resource Network is like, to me, the saving grace, because all of that tribal mentality, the community, like that's what PRN has been. If you ever went to the hub, it was like family, and it was like your friends at the same time. It's like if your family and your friends actually had a baby, where they actually care about you, like to that real deep level, like family, but they're also going to tell you the real truth like your friends do. And they've had lived experiences like your friends do, but I don't know if your family's like mine, but mine have they just don't talk. They don't talk about their lived experience very much. Does your family talk about their lived experience? Like the real stuff?
It's kind of like pulling teeth sometimes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like that for most families, from my experience at least.
Yeah,
it's hard to get beyond the surface unless you specifically ask certain questions.
Yeah, it's like
really dig.
Prodding.
It's like when you ask, "Hey, how are you doing?" and you're like, "I'm fine," and then you go, "No, how are you really doing? Like, what's actually going on in your life right now?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really need to take the extra effort to ask.
Yeah. Or just make the conscious decision to be persistent in the care and compassion through communication. Because I feel like that there's no effort to that. The end. No, I'm just kidding. So something that Michael and I were talking about doing for this offering, this Love Talks. So it's going to be really fun as we continue to have more of these episodes, classes, offerings. I'm going to start calling them episodes because I don't even know what else to call them really, and I like it. But we are going to be doing fun stuff. So Michael and I have committed to having a date night together once a week. And because voyeurism's cool, remind me to tell you guys about the camera. Remind me to tell about the camera.
Tell them about the camera.
I will, but like to remind me when I'm done with this little whatever I'm about to say. You know what I mean. Anyway, so check this out. So we have this date night, and we've decided hump day would be a great date night. We can commit to Wednesdays together because our schedule is a little bit weird and wonky. So we are committed to a date night on Wednesday nights, and it starts here. Our date night technically starts at 5:00 Eastern time here. And then after this, we'll continue date night. Tonight, I think we are going to make a pumpkin pie, a vegan, gluten-free. Actually, it's not quite vegan because someone put the egg in it. An almost vegan, gluten-free pumpkin pie based on my mom's recipe. We're gonna tag team this, and I'm excited. Anyway, so this is what we want to share is like date night stuff, and because it's us, our date nights may seem a little bit weird. So there may be singing in some of them. There may be dancing. I don't even know yet. There's going to be talk about maybe when we've had a not so great day together. And I just saw what Aaron wrote.
I think we have to go back and read other people's comments as well.
You gotta read what Aaron just said.
We're cracking up at Aaron right now saying, thanks for taking us on your date night. Nothing like free pie.
I love Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Right. But yeah, so we want to share this date night stuff. And some of the stuff that we do, we intentionally want to deepen our relationship. We want to deepen our connection. We want to deepen it together sovereignly. And then what can he and I do and be more and share more of in the world?
Yes.
That's why we're doing this. See? He means it.
You going to tell him about the camera?
I am in a moment. I want to read what everybody says. Tina says that we talked the real stuff. Yeah, I came out gay and well, that was about as real as it gets. Can only stay real from there. So true, right? Oh my gosh. When I told my family that I was going to quit the jobby job and become like a spiritual guy who's really intuitive and works with like metaphysics, wow. Not quite the same, but it's the way I relate. But yeah, talk about some for real. Charles says the Quicks definition, which is his last name. The Quicks definitely, not definition, Quicks definitely tell each other the real experiences, sometimes too much. Oh, Jelly, I love that. Gosh, Charles, next time you and your family hang out, can we just like join?
And observe and take notes.
Yeah, we don't have to talk. We just sit in the corner. It's not weird. You can't even notice us, right? We just blend in. Oh, Ruth says, cute couple, so happy for you. Thanks, Ruth. So check this out. Y'all want to hear something weird? So this is where communication, I'm pulling in my communication skills in love, because my next door neighbor, I love the people that live in the house next door. They are fantastic. They rent the house from this gentleman named Lee. Lee is a special character. Lee has big trees and they like to fall their big branches on the power lines and pull the power out of the house and catch the side of my house on fire when it pulls the electrical box out. It's crazy. It's been amazing fun. Boy, howdy, let me tell you. So anyway, the other day, the neighbor comes over, knocks on the door with his bird on his arm because he's so cool. And he was like, hey, just want to let you know, Lee put a camera on the side of the house and it's aiming right in your windows. So speaking of the voyeurism, Tina, my next door neighbor has aiming in the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom window areas the camera. I know it's illegal. I think it's very strange. He says that we were dumping on his property. There's nothing to dump. We weren't doing anything. But yeah, so that's a weird bit voyeuristic. So we thought, you know what? We're okay with that. Let's bring the whole world in.
Are we? I mean,
why not?
I don't want to bring the whole world in, but the whole world's going to see whatever's going on in here if they want. So
I know, right?
I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm going to do me.
Right. Okay.
Maybe we'll be on like the internet one day. We'll be famous. Jane and Michael in their kitchen.
They were cooking soup and pie.
Baking pies.
Was that a gluten-free crust that they made from scratch? What? That must have been their Wednesday sexy time date. Well, luckily we can laugh. Tina is brilliant. She says to put a mirror up so they're staring at himself. Oh, that would be really funny, just to put a bunch of mirrors on the side of the house. That way when the sun comes up, it would be like blinding as well. Ooh, I like it. And yes, Charles, I would hope that Ed would make the collards. They're my favorite. You have not had his collards because that was BM times. No, not bowel movement. Before Michael.
Haha.
So, y'all, check this out. So, back to Michael and I intentionally like trying to deepen our relationship, expand our communication, make it more fun because it is COVID times, So, I'll get back to that in a second. So, we started reading this book. We had read the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz early on, right?
Mm-hmm. Earlier this year.
Yeah.
Way earlier.
Yeah. And really enjoyed reading it together. We would read it to each other and then we would talk about it and just expand upon it. And I was like, I've never had a relationship where we did this. Like, this is kind of cool. Like, I've read a lot of relationship books and self-help books, and my partner's like, whatever. So that's a thing. So this time we were reading together The Mastery of Love. It's another book by Don Miguel Ruiz, which I like him. I like his writing style. His books are small. I also have giant hands. I really don't. How big are your hands compared to this book?
It's a small book.
It is a small book. So anyway, The Mastery of Love. So if you want to get this book and you can read it with yourself, with your friends, with the partners, whatever. That's right. I said partners. You never know. We're going to be going into this book and just expanding on it, talking about like, oh, that's what we do. Oh, or this is where we could grow, or, all that fun stuff. Because back to it's COVID times, like, y'all, we're forming this relationship during the pandemic. I'm noticing that a lot of people's relationships are ending or ended when COVID kind of started. A lot of relationships ended. A lot of relationships broke and have kind of reformed in a different way. And I feel like we're kind of doing all of that at the same time. Like we'll grow, we come together and we grow and we're like, this is amazing. And then it's like, no, we're ready to up level. What does that mean? Well, it means that we get to break and expand. And then we grow again. And then we break. And it hurts. And then we grow and expand. So we're going through this ebb and this flow with truly only the support of ourselves, each other, and some close friends. Which means that I feel like we get to be really intentional about the relationship. Have you ever been in such an intentional relationship?
No.
How would you define intentional relationship? If someone's like, what do you mean intentional relationship? I know what I mean, but how would you define that?
We flesh out everything. There's like, in past relationships, I've had intentional relationships before, and it's like once you start getting to like the murky stuff, or somebody gets hurt or something that happened, you kind of just put a band-aid on it and keep walking. We don't do that. No, neither of us does that. If one of us has something we need to air out, or like we need to figure this out, like we just keep going at it until it's fixed, or we break and then we reconvene. Yeah. So intentionally focused on the relationship. And when you say that, what do you mean? Like focusing on the relationship's needs being met, as well as each of our own individual needs. Mm-hmm. I think for us, that's been really clear in communicating what our needs are. Like, I didn't realize I had some relationship needs. Because it was never a conversation. It was never like this one time when I was married. Like, we never sat there and talked about, like, how are you feeling? Do you feel like your needs are being met? Is there anything I can do to help that, to support that? We never did that. Like, ever. Did you do that with any of your ex relationships?
Probably.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Not as often, but yeah.
Wow. Score for me.
I don't know if it got reciprocated.
Wait, so wait, you would ask them like, "Hey, are your needs being met?" And they would say yes or no, but they wouldn't ask you.
I don't know. It was so long ago now.
It was
I know that this one is
BJ.
definitely.
Before Jane.
Yeah. I know that this one is much more intentional, for sure.
Yeah.
But trying to go back and recall memories from 5+ years ago, I don't remember anymore. I moved on
True,
to bigger and better things.
Well, and I just have the memory of like a steel trap, and I just remember so many things. So many things. So many things.
Do we have any comments?
Yeah, Tina says, Michael, I would not be okay with BM time.
It doesn't sound too pleasant.
But it can be.
How did you deal with it?
What?
The BM time.
The before Michael time?
Yeah.
What, in what regard?
It must have been really rough.
You know, it was a lot easier in a lot of ways because I didn't have an idea that I would want to be with any of the people that I was with before you, except for H1, obviously, because we did that like wedding thing. But like everyone else, other than the one relation, I was in one relationship that I was like, this is it. Not at all. But other than that one, like I think I've just not really taken them seriously. Like I didn't invest in it, so I didn't try to make it better. I didn't try to make it a stronger relationship at all. Actually, it would be like if they hurt my feelings or if they did something that I didn't like, I'd be like, whatever, bye, next. You know, which you can see glimpses of that part of me when when something happens between us that I really am just like, I emotionally have a really hard time handling it. Like my knee jerk reaction is, okay, whatever, I'm done, bye. And I've also told Michael, like, just ignore that. It's just me and my emotion. So you've definitely gotten like more better at being like, yeah, she's just saying that because she's hurting. I need to give her like 10 seconds and then for 10 days or 10 minutes, whatever.
It's never been 10 days.
I know it hasn't been 10 days. I was being dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 10 days. Sarah Catherine says hello.
Hello, Sarah Catherine.
Yeah. So I'm very excited that we get to do this. I'm really excited for the more that we're going to be doing. I'm excited for more date nights. I'm excited to eat pie tonight. We're gonna watch. Check this out, because I'm a nerd. So we're gonna make a pie, and we're gonna watch the movie Pie. Did you forget?
I did.
I know you did. And we can always change our mind. But yeah, you wanna?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a great idea. I'm wondering if we can request the video from the camera next door. Maybe I'll call Lee after and be like, hey, can you get the video when we were doing the pumpkin pie? And then we can like post it on the Facebook for everybody to see.
And then if he doesn't say that's cool, it's illegal. Take it down. Mr. Lee. Or I could just give his full name and phone number. I wouldn't do that. But I would want to. But I won't. Tina says, my partner and I met in a support group, so I sort of knew what I was getting into, but to be intentional means that I must remember where we both have come from and be patient with the communication issues. Yep. Being patient with communication issues. That right there. Because I think that it's not that people don't want to be truthful and be authentic and be vulnerable and be open and be honest and I think that we either don't know how, or we're afraid to, or we're like completely ill-equipped to do so because we've not had any practice in it. You know, like I've never been with a partner who, like for reals, sits me down and like shakes me to where my head wobbles. Not really, he doesn't do that, but he does like stop and be like, hey, like, what do you need? I love you. I'm here for you. And like, he means it. Thanks, boo.
Welcome, boo.
Tina's laughing about the video from the camera. I know, right? It'd be great. We are wearing aprons.
Yeah, totally.
We have flour, gluten-free flour.
Can we take pictures?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Because I don't.
Yeah, I'm sure I could figure it out.
Yes. Yeah, take pictures. You have long arms. Gina says shaken Jane syndrome. Right? Oh, so true. I have such a big wobbly head for reals. Like if you barely move my shoulders and I'm just like loose in the neck, my head does a lot of wobbling. I'm okay with it. I think I could be a good bobblehead doll one day. Put me on the dashboard of a car. Only in like really large pickup trucks and very small cars. Maybe only in small cars. Maybe in like smart cars. That would look like a really big bobblehead. Tina says, make it really interesting for your neighbor and just wear the aprons.
I mean, I was
That
kind
was
of planning
actually
on
the
that
idea, Tina. Talk about getting famous. Like, we saw these two white bottoms and there was flour and it was a pumpkin pie. Oh yeah, Charles says the time lapse, the process, the pie making, and post it later. That's actually a really good idea. We could do that. We actually could do that. Let's do that. We can do that. I don't know. I can't commit to how it's going to turn out, but we can commit to trying.
What do you think's going to happen during the time lapse? Like, what are we going to be doing while the pie's baking?
Well,
Like,
no,
are we going to bust out the yoga mats and like do yoga on the kitchen floor?
No, we don't. No, it's during the process of making the pie, not waiting for the baking of the pie. That would be really boring, especially if it's like aiming at the stove. Even though it might just be like, oh look, a pumpkin pie looks the same as it bakes. It's not like a cake; it doesn't rise. Anyway, I like that idea, Charles and Tina. Tina says, let's see how you really communicate. Right? Yeah. For real. Yeah. I think it'll be funsies. So because I love this, that is when the dancing occurs, Charles. Seriously, that's what we probably would do is dance around.
We probably will.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this because would you dance with me on here for date night? Not right now, but like on another date night for like one song.
Sure.
Yeah. Can we do that?
Sure. Then we'll become internet famous.
All right. Yeah. So because I love the interactivity and I love questions and feedback and I love how everyone has a different story and experience with relationships because we all have our own unique individual experience, which chapter 1 in this, I would encourage if you can get this and read this before next week, we're going to just talk briefly about chapter 1 because we all have had our own lived experience. So here I am, Jane Bubble, having her own life. And I have this idea of all that I am. And then there's Michael. He too has that. But I have an idea of him and he has an idea of me. So now we're starting to compound our images of each other and how to navigate through all of these different perspectives of self and each other and communicate through it and play with it and all that stuff. So I would love if you all would, you can send in emails. Questions you can put on there, keep anonymous. You could be like, put my name, it's all good, let me know, and ask It can be a question for me. It could be a question for Michael. It could be a question for both of us. Nothing is out of bounds. If it is, we just don't answer it. But I mean, for the most part, I'm an open, authentic truth monster book, and you can't lie either.
Correct.
I'm like, I hope. Hello. But we would like to make this interactive. So, whether it's having a challenge in communicating with your partner, or give me some examples.
I'm wondering, how people are going to reach out to you. You said email?
Yes.
How?
So you get on the internet?
Yeah, but how do they know what your email is?
I'm getting ready to tell them.
No, okay.
It's Jane. The THE guide. GUIDE. Jane the guide at gmail.com. So shoot me an email. And you can put on there, this one's for Michael, and I will just forward it to him. And it could be about the book. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about, whether it's how do I talk to his parents? How does he talk to mine? Or how do we talk to our friends, and how do we work with other couples? Whatever it is. Intimate questions, love questions, communication questions, health questions. And these are also things that we want to dive into and explore more of, because I know since we've met, there's been a lot of shifts that have happened with like the way we take care of ourselves and each other. Especially Michael. Michael's gotten more vegan.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was like, you need to be vegan. It's just that I'm like, I'm not making meat. But you like it.
I like what?
Your food and stuff now.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do. You sounded so southern and not from New Jersey. That was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. You are, yes. So anyway, send your emails, questions, comments, ideas, topics to janetheguide@gmail.com. And we'll post a video, however that turns out. We'll continue our date night. So continue this night if you want. Wednesday night can be your date night. It can be your date night with yourself. It can be your date night with your child. You can do your date night with your partner. And Tina, I do most of the cooking. Whoa, we have so many fun stories about that too. We could totally share it. See, that's how funny they are.
Around your cooking and mine.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll do one week. We'll just share all our cooking stories.
It's really fun. It's pretty good stuff. When we've shared them with others, they laugh. So, yeah. So anyway, it is the top of the hour, and so we're going to tune out so that everybody else can tune in to the Through the Eyes of Others that I think Roberta and Darlene are going to be on there. So I'm excited to catch up on that. And yes, Gene, that's why he's mostly vegan. What are they? Oh, God!
You scared me.
You were going to sneeze.
I lost my sneeze.
Yeah. That's a fun feeling, isn't it? Bless you. Okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sharing our date night with us. Can I speak for both of us? And if I'm wrong, you just say no. We are really excited for more. We're excited to share more love and ways of healthy relationships that have worked for us and that haven't worked for us so that they became more healthy. Do you have anything to say before we peace out?
I can't wait to talk about the pumpkin pie.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm excited to eat the pumpkin pie. Y'all. It's been a minute.
Me too. I'm excited to watch pie too.
I know, it's good.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it. I have. It's been a long time. Anyway, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And remember how loved you are, whatever relationship you're in. So I love you all, and I'll see you all next week on Love Talks 5 o'clock.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.